consulting engineering firms in the city, and I'm able to use that skill in what we're doing. Those who are accountants and finance people, attorneys, all of those who's gotten skills and are out there in the world using them, we have a place now to come back and put them into action. So this is what we, next steps, we're going to be working sessions to determine what we want, and then the needs of the broader community, education, workforce development, housing, affordable housing, construction training, and of course jobs. That's going to be all the tenets of what we plan to put together. So with that, if anyone has any questions or wants to build on anything, we can do that now.
I've been waiting all day. No more than she goes.
You made a statement to Bill.
Questions and answers. The floor is open for questions.
That's what I'm
Bill. We haven't got some.
question and answers on.
We haven't got some. I know y'all impatient. Let's do this right.
I got one question.
Let's do this right. You guys your questions out.
I'm gonna put it all back here.
That's so funny.
No, we ain't
questions, Lord. You gotta wait for the questions to get in. You ain't even hit me.
Excuse me, please.
You get questions. Let me give you questions.
We got this. Understand it. We got a question.
For the existing school be touched.
We got some questions for Beloved. Let Beloved get the question. That's it.
Thank you.
All right, hey guys, okay. All right, we got the first question. Vaughn Black asked, will the existing building be touched? The answer is no. Let me expound on that. And understand that the nation has made it clear. The nation has made it clear that the existing building is a landmark to us, and we're going to do a historic preservation of the building as part of the development. Let me get understanding.
Please, girl.
In terms of the turnover,
All right. Make them all
paperwork.
do what y'all want to do.
Is it 21, 22?
Listen up! Listen up!
All right. Okay. Hey y'all, what's the question? That's allowed.
The question again, God. We need some order, man. Hey, ask your question again. Be quiet. Be quiet. Hold it down.
Okay, first of all, peace!
Hey!
Peace! That's the
want to complete this cycle. If there's a question, finish that, and then the next person adds on. We don't need everybody speaking. Understand the question? God said, please, man.
Let's hear the question, God. What's the question?
So in terms of the turnover, it's not just 21, 22, it's the entire lot.
Thank you, God.
Both lots on the side,
Thank you. You're being glossed over.
One at a time.
We ain't glossed over. We glossed over one slide. This slide here, if you look in the bottom right corner, this slide comes from the New York City tax maps. That New York City now recognizes our entire site. What was 4 separate lots, it listed now as only one lot. It's block 1932, lot 29. That was the original 2122. The city recognizes that now as the only lot there. It's one lot. They want it developed as one lot. Thank you, God.
Hey.
The question is, are y'all gonna include a kitchen in the daycare center?
Thank you.
That's what you need.
Yes, and I would say, we talked about that we have to have a commercial kitchen because for all of our functions, we like to have food associated with it. So we're going to put in all the facilities that we need to conduct the business that we do. But definitely a commercial kitchen and teach culinary to young cars and hers as part of our workforce development. Yes.
God is in the God. Yeah. Me and Beloved built last month. Prefab building that's being put in the back for the have a training. Supposed to have a kitchen. That was the main idea and vision of the building that's going to replace the back of law school. It's going to be a building of law school that's going to have a gym. It's going to have a gym in the kitchen. And it's going to be a building that's going to be built over law school, which they are focusing on right now.
Next question.
I know y'all spoke about Christian Richardson wanting to turn the place to a historical landmark, right? There was also a property that was on 145th and Lennox that they wanted to turn into a similar type of building. But Christian Richardson fought against it because she said that 80% of the building was commercial and then 20% of the building would be, for those with a lack of income. Right? Now you are saying that you want to build the same type of building. How do you stop her from going against that same type of bill if it's not gonna fit the community, because most of the community in Harlem cannot afford certain prices of the rent that is here in Harlem. So you're talking about building a building where the rent is going to be more than the people of Harlem can afford. So how do you plan to go around that?
Yeah, that's big, God. And that goes to, I glossed over this final bullet point down here, that there's different ways you can build. One is, as of right, you build whatever the city regulations were. We can't do that because we want the transfer of land as part of the deal. So we either have to go through the ULURP process, the Uniform Land Use Review process, which is what you're talking about, where it goes to the community board, and then the community board has say, and they have to vote to approve it, or we can do the variance, and we'll probably go the variance option. Still engage the community, still put as much affordable housing on the site as we can. But remember, what we want out of that is really the school for the youth. I know the project on 45th Street. That was just a pure developer, was just wanting to do a developer project. What we're talking about is giving black youth a foothold in Harlem for the next 100 years. We'll have the school to come to, they'll be able to study everything that we studied growing up. So I appreciate the question.
Yeah, peace, God. I just want to commend you guys on excellent work on putting all this stuff together, because it's definitely a lot of work. Like you guys said, I had something very similar in regards to a proposal, and I commend the project that you're putting together. The only thing that I found I was missing in what you're saying is some form of a timetable. And in terms of how do we add on as a nation to make something like this happen? because it's going to be a long process. So if we need to know the steps, as you outlined it, how do we engage in terms of making sure that this come about as individuals in the nation, and what's the timetable?
That's basic. That's good. The timetable, we could do a project like this in probably the shortest period is 4 years. It's going to be a 4 to 5 year process. What we wanted to do was come before the nation and give you an update, and we're going to continue to do that as we go step by step. The next step that we're going to do is retain this architect. We already had a meeting with them. We went over the whole project. They agreed to come on board with us. So we're going to self-finance. We're going to do a whole fundraising, bring them on board. But as part of them, that's where we're going to have the outreach to the nation. So you're going to be informed every step of the way, and there'll be opportunities to add on.
One last question, guys.
Father Zabor.
About, we don't have to worry about 99 leaves no more, and the transfer of power. Explain that.
Okay, good. Thank you, God. Thank you. No, I'll state it. The God has the central question. He's talking about that I said that we don't have to talk about a 99-year lease anymore. You know what this whole process showed us? It took us back to Father, 1967. He asked the city for a building. The city gives him a building. You remember originally it was under the auspices of the Urban League, right? So 2 years later, in equality law, the Father returned to the essence. So we think that there was never any official lease in paper, but it doesn't matter anyway, because the city has always recognized the site as ours. They've never challenged us. They were the ones who gave us the site in order to maintain a school. Every time we've gone before the city, they've always ruled in our favor. That's why we went to the city to see if we can get the support. And the city will support us, so as long as we meet the needs of the community. So that's what we plan to do. And they also confirmed that you could do the transfer plan now. At the time, I guess the nation didn't have a 401c3, a 501c3, didn't have that legal entity in order to maintain the site. We have all of that now, so we're looking for it.
During the 4-year process, who will be still open?
That's a good question, and that's what the God, it's a construction.
What's the question?
Oh, okay, thank you. If it's a 4-year process, will the school still be open? The way it basically goes is the first 2 years of that will be the design process. And obviously, we'll be open during the design process. Then what happens during construction? And that's what you typically get during construction. The guards will propose a prefab building. They could be like a temporary structure. But all those things we're going to deal with as part of it.
When's it supposed to start?
Say it again?
The building, when it's supposed to start?
Again, we're starting now. We already started. We're retaining the architect. What the architect is going to do is we're going to give them to bring us a concept design that we'll be able to go out and make a fundraiser. We're going to fundraise this first amount to get the concept design. We'll have images. We'll be able to go back to the city. We'll be able to go and those with deeper pockets in us, and we're going to fundraise with that. So we picture a 2-year design process and a 2-year construction process.
Beloved, I think he means when do we break ground?
Again, 2-year design, break ground, and 2 years construction. Okay, the question was what happens to the garden, the open space? The development we're talking about takes up the entire footprint. However, on the second floor, you could have setback areas. So there'll be an outdoor amenity space as part of it. It won't be on the ground, it'll probably be up on the second floor roof.
Well, you can use a roof. There'll be a roof top.
Residential and work area. Is this being pertaining to the nation? Everything that's being done?
Yes. He asked, we're talking about residential, we're talking about commercial, we're talking about school. Will this be the nation? Yes. We would own the entire site. So we could do rentals, or we could do condominiums for the units. And then the commercial space you could lease, or we could run the business ourselves. All those decisions that we're going to make. But the key is, the key is that the residential and the commercial has to pay for the development and the school. So that's going to be our first guiding principle, that no matter what we do, that it's self-sustaining.
One last question. Yes, God.
Last question, please.
Part of this project, right, to be, make us be more self-sufficient, to include all of our resources in making this come to be. Is that also part of the concept of design we going forward with this?
Yeah, God is asking, as we are doing our fundraising, is it going to be collective work and responsibility, right? It's going to be all of us, or we're going to be looking for outside donors as well, right? That's your question?
No.
What's the question?
My question is, we have various brothers and sisters with skills, talents, and abilities, right, that apply to what's going on right now.
Right.
So, versus outsourcing and going to see whoever, right, that ain't one of the law fathers is one of the main emphasis to make sure we make this in-house as possible and do something.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. The God's asking that all the talents we have in the nation, will those talents be put to use as part of this development? The answer is yes. Because that everything we're going to do, we're going to include, and we're going to put on those teams, on the construction teams, anyone that has skills, we're going to look to include all of them as part of it. Stop moving.
All right.
Yeah.
So, that is it. So the whole idea of this bill is to share what we've learned over the last couple of months. We're going to continue this process, right? Because it's a great beginning, but it's only the beginning. No victory laps here, right? No victory laps here. It is what we've learned, and we will continue to share. Thank you for this time. Peace.
Peace.
Hey! My name is Sal from Theodore. I don't know if y'all don't want the babies to be in here, y'all need to get them out of here, because I got something to say that's real. This wisdom God. They asked us, where was the devil manufactured? What's the first tool to make a devil? Separation. Woo. That's the first tool. And I'm going to speak about it because I've been listening to this whole persona right now, and I got nothing against Hashim, Just, and all the rest of y'all that's coming along. But let's go back to the root of this right now. Because y'all ain't hear what that man said. That man said that the school will be torn down. Y'all ain't hear that. School will not be torn down. Okay, well then let's clarify. He just asked him a question a few minutes ago, and he said, all right, so let me go into what I'm going into. Okay, because we was on the same team at the beginning. When this first started, with that school over there, I mean that building. Yo, bro, God, I got this. Yo, no. Get mad at him. When that building was being built, the very first go round, beloved is here because he got mad to do with what was going on.
This is the way, guys.
Peace! It's God's building. Knowledge and wisdom, please. We don't need no side talking. If you want to talk, go that way. Please, man. Peace.
Okay? And I'm going to bring up everything that he said to me with the whole situation. When they went to build that building the first time, them contractors, they came here, asked the guards, what y'all want done with that school? They asked them, do you want us to Okay? The money was taken. And it was bullshit money. Because just like my man beloved said to me, from the street game or anything that you're dealing with, when you got a middleman, there's something that's taking place. So I asked them, how much money did them people over there that built that building got saved? You know what he said to me? He said they got saved $1 million for 40 days. And you know how they got saved that $1 million? Because when they went down there to the Department of Buildings, them construction people could not do nothing without the approval from our school.
Talk about it.
Okay? See, the problem is that it's too much clanism that's going on. It's too much separation that be going on. This ain't just started then. The same individual that was there, look at what's coming on a law school in Mecca. Did any of y'all see when a Lord B said that they gave us $750,000? $750,000? Look at part 17. And you know what the God said? It was 3 brothers that went and got the money the first trip. Out of $750,000, they got $5,000. When Allah being them found out, that was the Lord and this bunch of older brothers that here tell the goddamn truth. They went up there afterwards. God Supreme was in there. He'll tell you because he was there.
God Supreme was there.
And they got cards for the 5% nation. But in that bill, Allah B said it was a lady named Hattie. They turned them on to it. And she said to him, when he got ready to go back up in there, she said, remember, it was $750,000, right? He said in the bill, he said, my mind could not even conceive that. Because if they gave us $750,000 back then, how much money is that now? With interest.
Where's our money at?
So we've been having this whole situation going on. So let me get back now, bring it up to date. And I love my brother, and he gone. But we got to speak the truth. These people came in, and they said to an individual that walked the talk with the Father, that's all about this nation, to tell you what socks the Father had on at this time. But y'all went for the money. Y'all could have had this whole school reinforced right then.
That's right.
Now let me get to what I'm building about. Because see, when y'all start separating and y'all start this clownism, believe me, Shalom won't always step up to the plate. My man, Lord Mathematics, I don't know you like that. But one thing I don't like is when people come along and disrespect the individuals that already been here. What I don't like is when people start talking about all that they doing. You talking about down in North Carolina, where I almost got killed for building a school
By yourself.
that